The morning sun filtered through the tall windows of Adelaide Cottage, casting a warm, golden glow across the elegant room where Catherine, Princess of Wales, stood before her mirror. Her reflection showed a woman who had transformed from a university student into one of the world's most photographed royals, yet her eyes still held the same warmth and determination that had captivated Prince William years ago. Today marked another significant moment in her royal journey. The annual Children's Mental Health Week was about to begin, and Catherine would be making several public appearances to support young people across the United Kingdom. Her passion for early childhood development and mental health had become her defining cause, one that she approached with both scholarly dedication and genuine maternal instinct. Her lady-in-waiting, Rebecca Deacon, entered quietly with the day's schedule. Catherine smiled as she reviewed the packed agenda. First would be a visit to a primary school in London, followed by a meeting with mental health professionals, and finally an evening reception for charity patrons. Each event required not just her presence, but her complete emotional investment. As she selected her outfit for the day, Catherine chose a deep blue coat dress that would photograph well and remain appropriate for all her engagements. The color reminded her of William's eyes, and wearing it always gave her confidence. She paired it with simple pearl earrings, a gift from the late Queen Elizabeth, whose memory continued to guide her approach to royal duty. The drive through London's busy streets gave Catherine time to review her briefing notes. She had always been meticulous in her preparation, understanding that each person she would meet deserved her full attention and genuine interest. Her protection officer, Dave, noticed her quiet concentration and smiled. He had worked with the princess for several years and had witnessed her growth from a somewhat nervous new royal to a confident advocate for causes close to her heart. Arriving at the school, Catherine was greeted by excited children whose faces lit up as her car pulled into the courtyard. The head teacher, Mrs. Sarah Collins, had worked tirelessly to prepare for this visit, knowing that the princess's presence would bring international attention to their mental health programs. Catherine stepped from the car with practiced grace, her smile genuine and immediate. She had learned early in her royal career that children could sense authenticity, and her natural warmth with young people had become one of her greatest strengths. The children, aged between 5 and 11, had prepared songs and artwork to share with her. Walking into the school hall, Catherine was struck by the colorful displays showing the children's work on emotions and well-being. She stopped at each display, asking thoughtful questions and listening intently to the children's explanations. 7-year-old Emma, initially shy, found the courage to tell Catherine about her drawing of a rainbow after rain. "That's beautiful, Emma," Catherine said, kneeling to the child's eye level. "Can you tell me what the rainbow means to you?" This simple question opened up a conversation about feelings after difficult times, showcasing exactly why Catherine's approach to mental health work resonated so deeply with both children and professionals. The morning continued with Catherine observing a mindfulness session where children learned breathing techniques to manage anxiety. She participated alongside them, showing that even adults needed tools to handle stress and worry. Her willingness to be vulnerable and authentic in these moments had become her signature approach to royal engagements. During a private meeting with teachers, Catherine discussed the challenges schools faced in supporting children's mental health. Her questions were informed and specific, reflecting the extensive research she had conducted into early childhood development. She had spent years studying the science behind emotional development, working with leading researchers to understand how early experiences shaped lifelong mental health. The conversation with education professionals revealed Catherine's deep understanding of systemic issues affecting children's well-being. She spoke about the importance of training teachers to recognize early signs of mental health challenges and the need for resources to support families struggling with these issues. As the school visit concluded, Catherine was presented with a book created by the children, filled with their thoughts on happiness and kindness. She promised to read every page, a commitment that those who knew her understood she would absolutely keep. Her genuine interest in what children had to say was never performative. It stemmed from her belief that young voices deserved to be heard and valued. The drive to her next appointment took her through areas of London she had grown to know well through her charitable work. Catherine often asked her driver to take routes that allowed her to see different neighborhoods, understanding that her role required her to connect with people from all walks of life across the country. Her next stop would be the Institute of Psychiatry at King's College London, where she would meet with researchers working on groundbreaking studies about early childhood mental health. This academic setting represented another facet of Catherine's approach to her royal role. She believed in combining hands-on charitable work with serious engagement in research and policy development. The contrast between the primary school's colorful chaos and the university's quiet scholarly atmosphere highlighted Catherine's range as a royal representative. She moved seamlessly between environments, adjusting her energy and approach while maintaining her core authenticity. Professor Michael Johnson, who had worked with Catherine on several research projects, greeted her at the university entrance. Their collaboration had produced significant insights into how early intervention could prevent later mental health crises, work that Catherine was particularly proud to support. As they walked through the research facility, Catherine asked detailed questions about current studies and their potential applications. Her engagement was that of a serious partner in the work, not merely a royal patron offering ceremonial support. This depth of involvement had earned her genuine respect from the academic community. The afternoon's discussions would prove challenging, dealing with difficult statistics about children's mental health and the long-term impacts of early trauma. Yet Catherine approached these conversations with the same grace she brought to lighter royal duties, understanding that her platform came with responsibility to address difficult truths about society's most vulnerable members. The research facility at King's College buzzed with quiet energy as Catherine engaged with scientists who had dedicated their careers to understanding the developing mind. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a leading researcher in childhood anxiety, presented findings from a 5-year study that Catherine had helped fund through her Royal Foundation work. The data was sobering. 1 in 6 children now experienced mental health problems, with many issues traceable to experiences before age 5. Catherine listened intently as Dr. Rodriguez explained how early intervention programs could dramatically improve outcomes, her notepad filling with questions and observations that would inform future initiatives. The brain's plasticity in early years means we have a real window of opportunity, Dr. Rodriguez explained, pointing to brain scans showing neural development patterns. Catherine studied the images carefully, understanding that this scientific evidence would strengthen her advocacy work with policymakers and funders. During the research presentation, Catherine's phone buzzed with a message from William, checking on her day and reminding her about their children's school pickup later. She smiled softly, struck by how her roles as mother and royal advocate informed each other. Her own experiences with George, Charlotte, and Louis had deepened her understanding of child development in ways no amount of academic study could achieve. The university visit concluded with Catherine addressing a group of graduate students studying child psychology. These future professionals would carry her message forward, implementing evidence-based approaches to supporting young people's mental health. Her words carried weight because they combined royal platform with genuine expertise and maternal insight. "Your work will touch countless lives," Catherine told the students, her voice carrying the conviction that had become her trademark. "Every child who receives better support because of your knowledge represents hope for our future." The students listened with rapt attention, inspired not just by her royal status, but by her obvious passion for their shared mission. Leaving the university, Catherine's convoy made its way across London to the evening's main event, a reception at the Natural History Museum for patrons of children's mental health charities. This gathering would bring together philanthropists, celebrities, politicians, and activists united in supporting young people's well-being. The museum's grand Hinsa Hall provided a magnificent backdrop, with its soaring arches and the famous Hope the Blue Whale skeleton suspended overhead. Catherine had specifically requested this venue because she wanted the evening to feel inspiring rather than purely formal. The setting would encourage meaningful conversations rather than superficial networking. As guests arrived, Catherine moved through the reception with practiced ease, but her interactions were far from routine. She spoke with Sir Richard Branson about Virgin's employee mental health programs, discussing how successful business models could be adapted for schools. Her conversation with actress Emma Thompson explored how storytelling could help children express difficult emotions. Chef Jamie Oliver approached Catherine with enthusiasm, eager to discuss the connection between nutrition and mental health in schools. Their conversation revealed Catherine's comprehensive understanding of how various factors influenced children's well-being, from family dynamics to educational environment to basic physical health needs. "It's all connected, isn't it?" Catherine observed, her ability to see complex interconnections helping her build bridges between different sectors working toward common goals. This systems thinking had become central to her approach, recognizing that sustainable change required collaboration across traditional boundaries. The evening's keynote speaker was Dr. James Gordon, an internationally recognized expert in childhood trauma recovery. Catherine had personally invited him after reading his research on how creative therapies could help children process difficult experiences. His presentation would showcase innovative approaches that her foundation might support. As Dr. Gordon spoke about art therapy programs in refugee camps and drama therapy for children who had experienced abuse, Catherine listened with visible emotion. Her empathy was never performative. Those close to her knew she genuinely felt the weight of the stories she encountered in her work. Following the presentation, Catherine facilitated a panel discussion, bringing together charity leaders, researchers, and young people who had benefited from mental health support. Her questions demonstrated deep engagement with the issues, moving beyond surface-level awareness to explore nuanced challenges in service delivery and policy implementation. 15-year-old Marcus, who had overcome severe anxiety through a program Catherine's foundation supported, shared his story with remarkable courage. Catherine's response showed her gift for connecting with young people, validating his experience while highlighting his strength and resilience. "Your willingness to share your story will help other young people feel less alone," Catherine told Marcus, her words carrying the weight of genuine appreciation for his vulnerability. This ability to honor individuals while recognizing their broader impact had become a hallmark of her public engagements. The reception's informal conversations proved as valuable as the formal presentations. Catherine found herself in a corner discussion with youth workers from Manchester, learning about innovative peer support programs in urban communities. Their grassroots experience complemented the academic research she had engaged with earlier. A conversation with teenage mental health advocates revealed their frustration with adult-centered approaches to youth services. Catherine listened without defensiveness, taking notes on their suggestions for increasing young people's involvement in program design and evaluation. Her humility in learning from those she sought to help demonstrated mature leadership. As the evening progressed, Catherine's energy remained high despite the emotionally demanding day. Those who worked closely with her marveled at this stamina, understanding it came from genuine passion rather than mere professional obligation. Her ability to remain fully present across multiple challenging conversations reflected her dedication to the work. The museum's dramatic lighting created an almost magical atmosphere as conversations continued late into the evening. Catherine moved seamlessly between groups, connecting people with shared interests and facilitating new partnerships. Her role as convener and catalyst had become as important as her public advocacy. A moment of particular significance came when Catherine was approached by a mother whose daughter had benefited from an early intervention program. The woman's tearful gratitude highlighted the human impact of Catherine's work, reminding everyone present why they had committed their time and resources to this cause. "Your support gave us hope when we didn't know where to turn," the mother said, her words encapsulating the difference that coordinated, well-funded mental health services could make for struggling families. Catherine's response was characteristically gracious, but also strategic, using the moment to reinforce the importance of accessible services for all families. The evening concluded with Catherine announcing a new research initiative that would study the long-term outcomes of different early intervention approaches. This announcement represented months of behind-the-scenes work, bringing together funding, academic partnerships, and service delivery organizations in an ambitious, multi-year project. As guests began to leave, Catherine remained to thank the museum staff and event organizers personally. This attention to everyone who contributed to successful events, not just the high-profile attendees, exemplified her approach to leadership and relationship building. The drive home through London's quiet streets gave Catherine time to reflect on the day's encounters. Each conversation, from the shy 7-year-old's rainbow drawing to the teenager's courageous story sharing, had reinforced her commitment to this work. Her protection officer noticed her contemplative mood, understanding that these demanding days often left the princess processing complex emotions. Arriving back at Adelaide Cottage, Catherine was greeted by the familiar sounds of family life. George was practicing piano in the living room, Charlotte was reading in her favorite chair, and Louis was building an elaborate castle with blocks. William looked up from helping with homework, his smile acknowledging the successful completion of another important day. "How did it go?" William asked, knowing that Catherine would need to decompress from the emotional intensity of her engagements. Their partnership in both marriage and royal duties meant he understood the weight she carried when representing causes close to her heart. Catherine settled beside Louis, who immediately began explaining his castle's architectural features. This transition from princess to mother happened seamlessly, her children providing grounding that kept her connected to the everyday experiences that informed her public work. The contrast between formal royal duties and family chaos energized rather than exhausted her. Over dinner, Catherine shared age-appropriate stories from her day with the children. George, now old enough to understand his mother's work more fully, asked thoughtful questions about why some children needed extra help with their feelings. Charlotte, ever empathetic, wanted to know if the children Catherine met were feeling better now. These family conversations served multiple purposes. They helped Catherine process her experiences while teaching their children about service, empathy, and using privilege responsibly. William often marveled at how naturally Catherine connected her royal duties to their family values. Later that evening, after the children were settled for bed, Catherine and William reviewed the day's outcomes. The media coverage had been positive, focusing on substantive issues rather than mere fashion choices. More importantly, the connections made during the day had generated concrete commitments for future collaboration. Catherine's phone showed messages from several people she had met. Marcus, the teenager who had shared his story, sent a thank-you note expressing how validated he felt by her response. Dr. Rodriguez forwarded early interest from international researchers wanting to collaborate on the new study Catherine had announced. The head teacher from the morning's school visit had already received inquiries from other schools wanting to implement similar mental health programs. This ripple effect demonstrated how Catherine's advocacy created momentum beyond individual events, generating sustained change rather than temporary attention. William watched as Catherine responded personally to each message, her commitment to authentic relationship building extending well beyond public appearances. This attention to follow-up and genuine connection had become central to her effectiveness as a royal advocate. The research presentation today was remarkable, Catherine told William, her excitement about the scientific findings evident even hours later. The brain imaging showing how early experiences literally shape neural development. It provides such powerful evidence for everything we're trying to achieve. Their conversation revealed how Catherine's approach combined emotional intelligence with intellectual rigor. She never relied solely on personal charm or royal status to advance her causes, instead building expertise that commanded respect from professionals in relevant fields. The evening's final task involved reviewing plans for the following week, which included visits to children's services in Wales and Scotland. Catherine's commitment to understanding regional differences in service delivery reflected her thoroughness in approaching royal duties with genuine substance. As she prepared for bed, Catherine reflected on the cumulative impact of days like this one. Individual events might seem small in isolation, but their collective effect was transforming how society approached children's mental health. Her long-term vision was becoming reality through consistent, strategic effort. The following morning brought fresh opportunities to build on the previous day's momentum. Catherine's first call was with her private secretary, discussing how to follow up on commitments made during the reception. Every conversation had generated potential actions, from funding opportunities to research collaborations to policy discussions. Media coverage of Catherine's activities had evolved significantly since her early royal days. Journalists now approached her work with recognition of its substantive nature, asking informed questions about policy implications and research findings rather than focusing exclusively on personal details. A particularly meaningful response came from a group of social workers who had heard about Catherine's visit to King's College. They requested a meeting to discuss how research findings could be translated into practice improvements in their community services. This grassroots interest validated Catherine's belief that combining academic rigor with practical application could drive real change. The ripple effects continued throughout the week. The school Catherine had visited reported increased interest from parents wanting to learn more about supporting their children's emotional well-being. The mental health charity that had hosted the evening reception saw a significant spike in volunteer applications and donations. These outcomes demonstrated how Catherine's approach to royal advocacy created sustained impact rather than temporary publicity. Her commitment to evidence-based solutions and long-term relationship building generated momentum that continued well beyond individual events. A month later, Catherine received an update on Marcus, the teenager whose story had moved reception attendees. He had been accepted into a peer mentoring program and was now helping other young people navigate their mental health challenges. His transformation from struggling teenager to confident advocate embodied the possibilities that Catherine's work sought to create. The research study announced at the Natural History Museum had secured full funding and begun recruiting participants. International collaborators had joined the project, expanding its scope beyond the United Kingdom. This global dimension reflected Catherine's growing influence in shaping international approaches to children's mental health. Educational institutions began incorporating Catherine's research findings into their teacher training programs, ensuring that future educators would understand the connection between early experiences and lifelong well-being. This systemic change represented exactly the kind of sustainable impact Catherine had envisioned when she first committed to this field. Years of patient work were yielding measurable results. Childhood mental health services reported improved outcomes. Policymakers cited Catherine's advocacy in developing new support programs, and most importantly, individual children and families were receiving help they might not otherwise have accessed. Catherine's transformation from university graduate to influential advocate demonstrated how sustained commitment to meaningful causes could create lasting change. Her journey from tentative new royal to confident leader in children's mental health advocacy inspired others to use their platforms purposefully. The grace she displayed during public appearances reflected deeper qualities: intellectual curiosity, emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, and genuine compassion. These characteristics, combined with her royal platform, had created unprecedented opportunities to address some of society's most pressing challenges. As Catherine continued her work, she remained grounded in the recognition that sustainable change required patient, consistent effort rather than dramatic gestures. Her approach proved that authentic leadership could emerge from combining personal passion with professional excellence, royal duty with human connection. The little girl who had once drawn a rainbow after rain had unknowingly captured Catherine's entire philosophy: that hope and beauty could emerge from difficult experiences when children received proper support. This understanding continued to guide Catherine's work as she built a legacy of positive change for future generations.